Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey everyone, welcome to this webinar. Can everyone hear me okay? Yeah, got yes from Janelle. Jan says hi from Sweden. Hi Jan, how you doing? Yes from Brandon. Yes from John. Yes from Ian. Fantastic. Seems the sound is working fine. Last one of these we had a couple of sound issues. I think they worked themselves out. Hopefully we will be all right this time round. Let's check. Can you see my screen okay? You should see the Convertri app. Got new funnel, a couple of pages in it. Yep, we see the screen. Pete says he can see it. Norman says he can see it. Excellent. We seem to have seen quite a lot of people here, and that's good. First I should let you know who I am. I completely forgot to do that last time I did one of these. I was just sitting here talking to people for ages. They had no clue who it was. Anyway, this is me. Here I am Neil. I'm one of the co-founders of Convertri. And what we're going to do on this call is I'm going to take you through some of the newest features that we've got. Like we've recently released a menu feature. I'm going to take you through that, show you how that works. I'm going to take you through the new layers functionality that we've got. And I'm also going to show off something that I think is pretty exciting. It's a big new feature. We're hoping it's going to be coming out very, very soon. It should make building your websites an awful lot easier. And then, of course, the main point of this call, it's like a Q&A session. You can ask me anything you want about Convertri. If there's anything you want to know about the product, if there's anything, like if you want to see something demoed in the editor, I will do the best I can, show that off. And of course, any questions you've got about the new features that I'm showing you, all of those are welcome as well. You're more than welcome to ask me anything that isn't Convertri related as well. I just can't promise I'm going to be an expert on that. Like David Bowie or Birds, pretty good on them. Renaissance architecture, not so much. So let's get into it. So first thing I'm going to show you is the layers functionality that we've got. If I just and so what I'm going to do first, I'll just go into this blank page. Yes, John says we've got a lot of people here as everyone's at home. Yes, yeah, everyone is. Just like me, in fact. I think we're all doing it at the moment. We're quite lucky actually with Convertri because we're already a fully remote company. It's not really changed operations for us very much. But I know it is like disrupting quite a lot of people. So the new layer system that we've got is one that allows you to add in pre-made layers which we've made for you. Like previously, like you could always build layers in Convertri, but you would have to build them for yourself. Now, with these new features, if you click the layers button to add a new layer, then you can see there are some pre-made layers ready done for you. Now, we've got 5 templates in here at the moment. We've got the sticky header layer. We've got we call it a GDPR footer layer because that's the text that we put on there. It's all about cookie consent, but it's a basic sticky footer layer. You can change the text, you can change the button to do anything you want. We have 2 different opt-ins, one just collecting an email, one collecting a name and an email, and we have a pop-up template. And you can add one of these let's add this one here. Gives you a little bit more information on it. And click add. Always do that. Bit too enthusiastic with the mouse sweeping. So add the name. And you can see the entire thing is in there and it's just like already made for you. Now you don't have to leave it just like this. It's all built in Convertri, so you can do anything you want to this. You can shift bits around. The mobilizing, is done for you. And if we select the close button, then you'll see that the close action is also already built in. So you don't have to do any of that for yourself. You can just load up one of these pre-made layers and there it's all done. We've got 5 templates at the moment. We are looking at adding more. Both if I just add up the just get the new layer selector in there again. So we've got the header, the footer, 2 opt-ins, and the pop-up. We are looking at adding more layers, both like different styles, so like different styles of opt-in, different styles of header, and like entirely new layer types if people want them. So if there's any particular layer types you want, or if there's any particular layer designs that you've seen on websites around, like if you've seen a nice header that you'd really like to use on your Convertri sites, if you send like an email into support with a link to the place where you found it and say the bit you like, then we'll have a look at building a layer like that and adding it into the Convertri templates. So this was something that we added in last Tuesday, and this Tuesday we actually added a bit on top of that, because now you can also create your own layers and then save them into your templates. So you can create a layer on one page and then use it on every other page as well. So just to show you how that works, we will leave that. And if we go into this Converge template, now you can see I've already built a layer on this page. I've built a little pop-up, and this is one like I've just made myself. And if I like, okay, I like this layer, I want to use it on other pages. What we're going to do, if we click on this 3-dot menu in the layers panel and click on save to my layers, then so we'll save that in there. And now we'll just go back to the other blank page. And we'll add layers again. And you can see that our exit pop layer has been saved in the home folder. So we can add that in, and it's ready to use on any page you want. Nick is asking what actually is a layer, like why is it called a layer? A layer is another level to your page. A layer is like, I don't think it's a conventional web design term, it's just something we call it. If you add elements to a layer, you can have them, for instance, you can have them stick in a certain place on the page, like to the header, to the footer. You can have them just appear over the top of other content. It's a similar concept, I think, to the way Photoshop builds images up, because with Photoshop you've got something like every element on, like every image you use on a separate layer. We don't go to quite that extent. We have like layers which are canvases, which you can add all sorts of elements to and then put them one on top of the other. But they're essentially a building block for a page that you can use for stuff like pop-ups and headers and footers and so on. I hope that answers the question. Doug says that's really cool, and I think that's really cool as well. This was a feature I've been waiting for in Convertri for absolutely ages. Like we had quite a lot of holdups on the getting the collections in, and we needed to get the collections in before we could do this with the layers. But now all that's done, we've got these in, and yeah, I really like it. And let's say if there are more templates you want, then like please do email them to support. Even like suggest them on this webinar if you want. And yeah, we'll definitely be interested to see what other layers, what other kind of concepts you would like in that collection. So the next thing I want to show you is the menu element, which is another new feature that we've added. I'll just have a quick check and see if there are any questions on the layers before we get into that. Chandra is asking if you can get an option to add a message along with name and email. For like in a layer, like yep, we can definitely like create a layer with a notes box in there as well. Rob's asking if we can track clicks in a layer. You can track clicks, but they'll just be counted as clicks from the page. Like Convertri isn't going to know the difference if, for instance, like this button is clicked or if a button on a layer is clicked. It will just count it as a conversion from the page. Obviously, if the buttons are going to different places, then you'll be able to see the different links. Melanie is asking if Convertri supports hosting of a website. Convertri does support hosting of a website as long as it's built on Convertri. You can't take a WordPress site and put it on Convertri hosting. The pages have to be built with us, but you can build websites with Convertri if you want. Daryl's asking if people use these layers for more traditional headers like home, contact, and about. Yep, they absolutely do. Like you can, like this in this template, like this white header here, that's not built on a layer, that's just part of the main page. But you can absolutely put that kind of thing on a layer if you want. The reason you would put that on a layer is if you wanted it to be sticky. So you can see, because this is on the main page at the moment, I scroll down the page and the menu like goes off. If you wanted that to stick to the top of the page, then you'd put that on a layer. And then you could have the page scroll underneath it while the menu bar just stayed at the top. Gary's asking if it's possible to use video on a layer. Yep, it absolutely is. You can take any of Convertri's elements and build them on a layer just like you would on the main canvas. Doug's asking if on the opt-in layers, the forms, are they set up so you just add your email so it forwards to you? They're not automatically set up that way. You would do that in the form setup, area. So you could set the form up to go to an autoresponder. You could set the form up to be emailed to your Convertri account email. But you can do whatever you want with that. John's asking, how do you return to the home page from the page you're currently on? I'm not totally sure this is what you mean, John. Please clarify if it's not. But if you want to get back to the main dashboard from the page editor like this, then if you click on that X in the top right corner, oh yeah, we won't save any of that. We'll just leave the page. Then you get back to the funnel screen. Nick is asking if you can add a layer to a web page or only a Convertri page. At the moment, it is only a Convertri page. These are just for Convertri itself. You can't currently take Convertri elements and put them over other pages or put them over external pages. That would be a very sexy feature. I do quite want it, but it's not currently high up the list. Martin is asking, I saw a demonstration where you imported a site that wasn't built in Convertri and then made changes to it. What kind of site can be imported? To be honest, most sites, but they need to, basically the Convertri page importer will import the look of the page rather than the functionality of it. So if the page includes functionality that you can't do with Convertri, then you'll probably get something like an image of the element, how it looks, but it won't do what it did on the original page. But most landing pages, like the kind of thing that you're looking at here, like the kind of static pages, most of them import really well. So what I'm going to do now, I know there's a couple more questions coming in. I'm going to show off the menu element, and then we'll go through another set of questions after I'm done with that. So we can see on this page here, at the moment, this is like a menu built the old way. So this menu up here is built with just plain text elements, and these text elements have internal links to bits of the page. So if we have a look at how this looks on the preview, then we can see our page here. We click the menu link and it scrolls to the relevant bit of the page. And if we have a look at the mobile view, you can see this is how Convertri mobilizes that menu. And when you've only got 3 elements, that's okay. But if you've got like 5 or you've got 6, then this line of menu elements that gets very big. It's not really usable, and you have to rearrange things yourself. What most people like on a mobile page is what they call a hamburger menu, which is where you'll have like a little icon in the top right corner, and you'll click on that, and that will reveal the menu rather than having it all like immediately visible. And so what we've done is create a menu element which will do this automatically for you. So to add the menu element to the page, you can see it in the list here. So it's this one here with menu next to it. So we're just going to drag that on, and it starts out as just this plain white box. What we're going to do is we're going to add these different menu items to it. So we'll go in element properties. The automatic one it opens up on is menu items, which is where you add the different items in the menu. You've also got menu properties where you can change the look of it. We're going to go through all of this. So we'll start by entering. We've got about us and pricing and register, which are the ones there. It starts out with like 4 item slots available by default. You don't have to stick to 4. You can add more. So we just click create and add another one. So we can have item 5. Do it again, item 6. The more you get, like if you go onto a second line, the menu will go onto that second line. You can also change the size of it. So you can make it wider or smaller depending on the size of the menu you want. So we just want those 3, so we'll get rid of those items. And you can set links on each item. So I've still got caps lock on. So you can set a link. Now, if you click about us, it'll go to google.com. You can set an internal link, which works just like internal links normally do in Convertri. And you can also create submenus. So if you select submenu here, then you can add items in a submenu just like you do with the normal menu. And again, you can add in as many of those as you want. And I'll just go on to preview now so you can just see how that submenu looks. And then they are automatically down there. And you can change, you can add the links, the internal links and so on to submenu items as well. What you can't do is set another submenu on a submenu item. They have to be links or internal links. So now what we're going to do is we're going to change the font to look a bit more like this menu up the top. And that looks like 6, that's right. We'll change these items so they're all internal links. So it's doing the same thing that the current menu is doing. Then we'll just delete those elements. Oops. And actually, I think I'll take the border off that as well. I like the look of that better without the border on it. There, so now we've got the menu back as it was. And now if we go to the mobile view, and of course we'll need to remobilize, then you can see there is now a menu element in there with the hamburger. And because of the way Convertri's mobile algorithm works, then it's reading this element and then it's reading the menu, so it's putting them one after the other. But it's a pretty easy job to rearrange. And I can't really show you like on this because we're on a desktop computer at the moment. I can't show you how it actually looks on the mobile publish page. But when when your user loads your mobile page, they'll see this hamburger menu and they can tap that and they will get the 3 menu items that will work just like the menu did before, scrolling to the relevant bit of the page. And this makes mobile menus an awful lot easier to do. So you can also change the look of the menu. So one thing you can do on mouse over, we can make the text bold when the mouse goes over it. And that means if we have a look at the preview, then you can see you've got the effect there. We also have a range of different skins you can use. And you can find those in the menu properties. So we've got our basic classic skin, which is very similar to what we're using at the moment. We have the paprika skin, which is a bit more, I know it's a bit more vibrant, and you've got this, it's got a full width sub menu, so it's quite striking on the page. Salmon is like very big, very chunky, and then we have mint, which is that's probably my favorite one a lot. I quite like this little tab up, and I quite like the underline when you hide under the when you mouse over the menu items. Let's not look at classic. Let's look at a bit of a different one. Let's have a look at salmon. So some menus work an awful lot better when they are rather bigger. So we'll just move that out of the way just so we can have a look at how this menu looks. And if we go into preview, you can see there. I'll just add a quick sub menu into one of these items so you can see how that looks on this skin as well. And again, all of these are adjustable. If you want to change the background color, if you want to change the font, that is something you can just do. So let's say there is one more feature I would like to demo before we get into the main Q&A part for any other questions that you want. But I'll just check, are there any questions on the menu element before I move on to that? Norman's asking, when you set an external link, will it pop up in a new tab? At the moment, it will pop up in the same tab. We're planning on making this optional, so you'll have like a little toggle on whether or not you can have it pop up in a new one or the same one. But we thought most people are more likely to want the menu links to open in the same tab than a new one, which is why we've got that as the default. Dara's asking if you can hover over the drop down rather than click. At the moment, it's just when you click on it. Norman's asking, is it possible to have a hamburger menu on a desktop page? That's not something we currently support. It has come up a fair amount actually, so we probably will at some point, but it's not a feature we've got in there at the moment. You can, of course, if you want a hamburger menu on desktop, you can make that with layers and hidden elements, like people used to do before the menu element was available. Doug's asking if you can save menus like layers. You can't save menus specifically, or no, actually that's a complete lie. I'm sorry. You can kind of. If you click on, you've got the element selected, then in general properties, you'll see create collection. If you click on that, then it will turn the element you've got selected and anything that's contained within it into a collection. So you'll be able to access it again from the collections tab over here if you want to add it to your page. Elston's asking if menus can have a transparent background. They definitely can. So there's a background transparency there for the main text button, and you can change the transparency up here, like on the main menu background, just like you can with any other element. Okay. Andrew's asking if Convertri will offer a live webinar option in the future since we're building the webinar framework out. Never say never, but that would be an enormous job. Like truly, like we've tackled some very, very big things in the past, and that would probably be bigger than all of them put together. So it's probably not happening anytime soon. And yes, Andrew says he had to ask. I absolutely don't blame you. If you don't ask, you don't get. But probably not getting that one very soon. So okay, now I would like to show you another feature that we've got. Now this feature isn't actually in the app yet. Now this is a feature that is currently just on test. Like it's with our feature testers at the moment. We're testing it internally. I'm hoping it's going to be released very soon. Because this is a feature which I personally like. We've been updating our website recently, and I personally have found this feature amazingly useful, like ridiculously so. And I can't really wait to get it out to everyone. And this feature is currently in use on some of these pages. So I'm going to take you in and you can have a look. And what this feature is we have developed shared headers and footers. So you can create a master header, you can create a master footer, you can use that header and footer on the same, like on all your pages in your funnel, and you update it in one place, and it will be updated on all your other pages as well. And in fact, Dara's asking what's the best way to carry the menu items to other pages. And like at the moment, yes, effectively cut and paste is what it will be. But once the shared headers and footers are in, this is definitely going to be the better way to do it. So this is a page with the shared header and footer active. So you can see this here is the shared header. We have our main page and a shared footer underneath. And so we can see this, the shared header is active here. We can also see it's active on this other page. And you can see these are the same, like the shared header, the shared footer are the same. If we make an adjustment to the shared header, so we'll just go in here to edit that, let's say, like, you know what, I actually want to add a blog on here. I want to add a blog link as well. So I'm going to add another item to my menu. And to make that a bit wider. And I'm going to save that. Close the page. We go back to that other page using the header. And you can see the update has happened here as well. So this is going to make like updating content like this that you want to be the same across your whole website is going to make it an awful lot easier. You'll still need to publish each page individually, but you're not going to have to update them individually. You can just you can update the header once, and then it'll just be carried across all pages. So if you want to change a link here, if you want to update your logo, if you want to change the color, change it in one place, it gets changed across everything else. So you can adjust the height of the header, and again, all these changes carry across. So you've got a bit more room to add your items. All this works just the same on the footer as well. If we go onto the mobile view, then if we just move that around, the header and the footer remobilize separately from the rest of the page. So if we move any of that content around, if we just mess up the page a little bit, then if we hit remobilize, then the page remobilizes, the header stays as it was. If we were selecting, if we were in the header at the time and selected remobilize, it would just be the header that remobilized, the page would not be touched. And you can also choose whether or not you want to use these headers and footers on any given page of your funnel. So I don't think I've added it to this one yet. Yeah, so if you want to add your shared header and footer to the page, then in the page menu, you'll see the headers and footers option. You can switch on the header and it appears. You can switch on the footer and it'll appear at the bottom of the page. You don't have to use both. You can use one, you can use either. And you see they are now there. And obviously you would delete these elements which the shared header would replace. At the bottom of the page, the footer has appeared at the bottom. If we remove what was the old footer, so the bottom of the page moves upwards, the footer snaps up to fit. Should probably save that first. And there is also a master header and footer area in the funnel. So if you want, I personally find it a lot easier to go onto the page where the headers and footers are being used and just adjust them at that point. But if you prefer, you can go into the master editor and just change the header and footer here. So we can make a change here and that will be updated, the header will be updated across every page that's using it. So this has been in test for a little while now. It is another one of those very big jobs. This touched so many areas of the editor. When we first, when we first released this into our alpha state where we could have a look at it internally, but it wasn't released to everyone else yet, the amount of bugs that came out of it were incredible. It was amazing. These are pretty much entirely fixed now. So we're just tidying up the last little bits and then it should be released very soon. You can also see the number of published pages that include the header in the funnel, the number of those pages that the header is up to date on. So if that was less than 100%, you would know there were some pages that need republishing. you can also see like which pages have the header and which ones don't. And I think that is the yeah, I think that's most of the new feature. You can. Oh, there was one other thing I wanted to mention with it. Always something else. There's always something else. So at the moment you can't have different forms in the shared headers and footers, though we are planning on doing that at some point. What you can do is you can clone elements from your main page into your shared header or footer. So if you want to do that, like if you had, say, if you're updating a site which used individual headers in places, you could add the shared header and footer and just clone your elements up, and then they would then be in the shared header. You can arrange them how you want, delete them off your main page, and then the shared header would be used. You wouldn't necessarily have to create all those elements all over again. So I think that's about it. Does anyone have any questions on this new feature? Okay, most of the questions here are how long is it going to be before it's in the main app, which is, I guess, understandable. Let's say I'm hoping to have it released very soon, like certainly by the end of the month. We're just coming to the end of the testing stages now. It should be out by then. So you don't have to wait very long for this to be available to you. So Ian is asking, can we have the GDPR footer as part of a shared footer? So if it's clicked on one page and then the visitor travels to another page, will the header remember that action and not show the GDPR warning again? That is something that let me think. I think that would be possible, but it would probably take a bit of custom code. It won't just work with what's in Convertri. You would need, you can have a GDPR footer. You can have that in the shared footer section. If you've got a bit of code in there to detect if the if the user has already consented, if they've got your cookie set, and then show a message or show a button on the footer if that's if they've got it set or not. If you have that on there and if you have that on your pages, then that will probably work, but it will require a bit of custom code to do. Damien's asking, do you have to republish each page to see the changes? At the moment, yes. Another thing we have in the list to do is being able to republish multiple pages, which will obviously mean you won't have to do that. You'll be able to republish the full funnel at once. That's in the dev queue at the moment. It's probably not. It's certainly not coming by the end of the month. It might be coming in a couple of months after that. I'm not really sure. That's going to depend on what our other priorities look like. Tavi, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Tavi is asking, what elements can you add to the shared header and footer? You can add pretty much anything which isn't a form. So, you can add images. You can add, I think you can put videos on there. You can definitely add menus. You can add the menu element. That's what we've got up there on this page. That's certainly what we've been using it for most of all. Combining the shared header and footer with the menu element, just makes building these things out across websites. It just makes everything so much easier. It is amazing. Walter's saying, currently I have a 5-page site, so I'll need to publish each page, and at that point they'll all link together. The shared header and footer, like that will link, like that will update across all the pages regardless of whether or not you've published the pages in the past. You can see like this page here, like that's not been published yet. I haven't published any of the pages in this funnel, and the shared header and footer is updating. But when you make a change to the shared header or footer, then you'll need to republish each page that it's on. Dave's asking, is there a separate editor for the shared header or footer? So can I create it before I create the pages and make a collection of like shared header templates? For most of that, the answer is yes. If we just leave that, if you on the funnel, because headers and footers are attached to funnels, so every funnel will have a header and footer section in this menu on the left. I'm actually pointing at my screen while I do this. It's, I don't know the way we present these things. So if we click on the header and footer section on this menu, then you come into the master header and master footer area. So you can edit, like if we edit the master header, then you can use this canvas to create your shared header, and this will just have the header on it. You can see here it's got the end of header mark, so any elements below here, like they're not going to be included in the header itself. It's just the stuff above the line. But you can add any elements you want in here, like you can increase the size, you can add more stuff in. And if we want to, like this is just a demo, so let's just leave the leave that panel in there. Now we'll go back to the funnel, back into the home page, and the header is bigger, and we've got the panel in there because we updated the master header. And you can do exactly the same thing with the master footer editor, which you also saw on that page. Tiet's asking, do you have to republish both the desktop and the mobile view? They're both republished at the same time. So if you if we hit publish here, that would publish desktop and mobile at once. So you don't need to do both of them. Janelle's asking, how do you add a video page and then embed a video? I'll deal with that once we've been through any other header and footer questions that have been here. So, okay, Dave says this is great if I have to add notifications or something site-wide on clients. Yeah, absolutely is. Like this is a very big feature. I've been looking forward to it for ages. I'm really hoping we get it out to you soon because can't wait to see what you lot do with it. So, are there any other questions on shared headers or footers before we go into the more general like Q&A session? What I'm going to do is I'm going to give it just a minute for any other questions to come in if anyone's got them, and then we'll get on with the Q&A. I'll run through like all the questions which are currently in the chat, which I haven't answered yet. I'll try and go through all of those. And obviously, if you have any other questions yourself, then like drop them in the question box, and we will answer those as well. Okay, I think that's it on shared headers and footers. So let's see what other questions we had on just general Convertri stuff. Okay, Norman's saying, I was having a bug on a mobile page. The bottom half of the page had a completely white background. Support told me the bug would be addressed soon. Do I have any ETA on when it's going to be fixed? As a matter of principle, we don't give out ETAs on anything, like either feature related or bug related, when like fixes or when features are going to be in the app. The reason for this is often that basically we just don't know. There's dev work is very complicated in that things that look like easy jobs, like it can turn out like we can turn over the rock and it turns out there's all sorts of monsters under there that we need to kill off first. And that means like fixes take a lot longer, or like features take a lot longer to make than than we'd otherwise think. I mean, the collections was a case in point of that. What I can say is that I know the bug you're talking about. What is happening here is that the page background is only basically it's showing for the first mobile screen, but it's not showing after that if you've set like a fixed page background as opposed to using a panel. That is definitely high up the list. I am hoping it will be fixed soon. Again, like I'm hoping by the end of the month, but it's all a matter of how the dev queue is prioritized and how much, like how long the bug takes, how long the stuff above it in the queue takes. So I can't make any guarantees on that. What I can tell you is that basically for an interim fix, so you can get the effect you want. If rather than using a fixed page background, you put a panel behind the elements you want in the color you want it or with the image you want, that will display just fine. So you can add that to your page and you'll get the effect you want. Brian has a feature request. Can Convertri have a dynamic page where the visitor's IP address gives a Google map with their location and niche businesses that we select for them to see in the map with pins for those niche businesses in their area? I've got to be honest, whether or not that is impossible is entirely above my tech pay grade, but it's the kind of thing we would absolutely consider. So if you can, any ideas like this, if you can send them into like support@convertri.com, if you use something like feature request as the subject line and give a description of what you want to happen and the result, like basically, Brian, what you put in the chat box here, like that is fine for a feature request because we get a good idea of what you're like, how you're imagining it working and what result you want to get out of it. What will happen is that these then go onto our ideas board, and we'll go through these ideas generally like roughly once a week. Some of them we will look at and like we're like, yep, we definitely want that idea. Like we'll just shift that straight into like the research queue. Some of them we'll look at and we'll just reject. And the reason for the rejection is normally that it would, I mean, sometimes the ideas we get are just impossible. Sometimes they're just too much work and not doing something that, like, it's in a different area to the app. It doesn't really fit where we're trying to take Convertri. But what happens with most of them is that they'll go on to something called our feature upvote board. Let me just see if I can bring that up for you. There we go. So this is where we put features that you can then vote on, and we can use this to see how popular they are. And this isn't the only thing we use when we're deciding what features to develop, what to prioritize, but it is an important factor. Like as you can see, like shared headers and footers are by far at the top of the list. We spent a load of time developing them, and they're coming out pretty soon. There's a lot of stuff in the list here, and this is where most of the ideas we get come in. And new ideas get added to this every week. Like in the update email, it'll normally tell you like what new ideas are on there. So if you have a look at this every now and then, basically click on, like if you can click the upvote here. I mean, I'm an admin, so it just takes me here. But you can, you'll be able to click to upvote the item and kind of add your voice to all the people saying yes, this is a thing we want in Convertri. So if you just check that every now and then, and that will give us a good idea of what people want out of the app, what we can build that would make your lives easier. And yes, Janelle was asking, how do you add a video page and then embed a video? So let me show you. So we've actually got a video opt-in page template here. So I'll just, actually we'll have a look at that in a minute once once I've done a blank one, just so you can see how it's done. But we'll have a look at that template after that, so you can see what it might look like as a finished page. So a video page isn't really different, it doesn't start life any differently from any other page. You just make a blank page in a Convertri, in the Convertri editor, or use a template if you want. And then you can add a video if you go to the media element in the elements bar here, and you'll see there's a load of options here. Video is our main video element. So this is for all your self-hosted videos. So by that I mean generally these will be videos on S3 or a system like a hosting system like that. You take the URL of the video, you put it in video source here, and that will then be played in this element. You've got a range of options you can use with it. You can set it to autoplay either on desktop or mobile. There's other autoplay settings for you can set it to restart when it gets unmuted. You can set it to only autoplay once, if you want. So the first time the visitor comes to the page, it autoplays, and then the next time they come, it doesn't. So you've got a range of options like that. You can make the video element sticky. You can enable it so when people tap on the mobile view, it goes to full screen. So there's quite a range of conversion elements in there. And this is the one, if you've got your own video, this is the one we recommend you use because you can just do a lot more with it. The other elements available are, there is a background video element, and this is designed for basically the same kind of thing that is on our website, if you just have a quick look at that. So this background video you can see here behind the top section, that was made with this background video element. And again, that was just dragging onto the page and putting the URL of your video in this box here. You will need to set it to mute. Most browsers don't autoplay videos that aren't set to mute, even if there's no sound on it. They look for the actual mute tag. So make sure that's switched on, and then you'll get the background video playing. We also have 3 elements from third-party video providers. So if you've got your video on Vimeo or Wistia or YouTube, you can just pick the relevant element from the side here. And under the properties, you add your, put your Wistia URL or YouTube URL or Vimeo URL, depending on what service you've got it on. And then that will get your video onto the page. And when the full thing is done, then it can look something a bit more like this. So you've got the full page designed around the video itself. This particular page is one from one of our template sets for a video opt-in. So someone, they can watch the video, they can click the Get in Touch button, and then they've got the layer opt-in form pop up. So does that answer your question? John is saying, in creating a vertical series of pages, how do you do this with or without page breaks? I'm sorry, I'm not entirely sure I understand what you're on about here. Um, do you mean like in creating like a long sales page? Gary is asking, is it possible to create a page in Convertri and then export it so it can be used in and added to an external self-hosted WordPress site? It can to an extent. You can, let me just leave this. There are page export options, but these basically show the Convertri page in an iframe, so they will still be like served through Convertri. So just to show you what I did there. On the three-dot menu on the page card, if you go to More and then Export here, you can download, like once the page is published, you can download an HTML file, and that will essentially give you a page which will show an iframe of your Convertri page. You can add that to your external hosting, and it will like pull the page in through from Convertri. For WordPress, then in the account menu, you can see down here there is an option for the Convertri Connector WordPress plugin. You can download that, you can add it to your WordPress site, and then just add in whatever URL you've published your Convertri page on, and you can tell the plugin to display it in place of your WordPress page. We generally recommend, like rather than using the plugin, setting up a CNAME so your Convertri pages are shown on a subdomain. And we recommend this mostly for speed reasons. Like once it gets to the Convertri part, the pages used like loaded via the plugin or via the HTML will still load very fast. But if you're using the plugin, then they have to load the whole of WordPress first, so it will slow your pages down a bit. There are also some features that don't play very nicely with the iframe. So for the best experience, we recommend using a CNAME rather than this. Dave is asking, I'm thinking of investing in a chatbot that will insert a code at the bottom of the body section. Will page load speed still be good? Almost certainly yes. Like it's not going to slow down the load of your Convertri page very much. How quickly the chatbot itself loads will depend on like the code of that third party and how optimized they are. Usually with stuff like that, the end user experience isn't that different because you get the fast loading Convertri page, and they don't often notice if it takes the chatbot like a couple of seconds to load in the bottom. So it's always worth testing with the service that you want to try out, but in most cases it should be fine. Peter's asking, do we have any plans for a membership site and ability to create courses with subscriptions? We don't currently have any plans for adding a membership site function to Convertri. It is something we go back and forth on quite a lot, because obviously it's a good part of a funnel. It fits in quite well with like Convertri as a funnel builder, but there's also quite a lot of good solutions out there already. And so we're not sure how much value we can add, like by just putting another one into the market. That said, you can set up subscriptions through the Convertri cart already, and you can use our webhooks to hook into most membership site solutions out there. They're industry standard webhooks, so most membership site solutions out there will take them fine. And you can set it up so that a purchase through the Convertri cart will automatically give access when someone buys. It'll revoke access if they refund, if they stop paying their subscription. So all this is stuff you can do with the webhook system. Ian's asking, going back to the GDPR footer, are there any third-party ones we can install on the Convertri site so the cookie consent choices are remembered even when someone revisits? Almost certainly. I don't know any off the top of my head to recommend, but that's definitely the kind of thing. I've seen similar kind of technology out there. I'd be very surprised if there weren't any that had GDPR footer templates in there. Tobias is saying, are you working on making a solution regarding WordPress? Right now, it's a bit of a mixing oil and water problem, even if there is a Convertri plugin. We're not currently planning on any deeper integrations, but if you've got any, like if you can describe more the kind of thing you're looking for, then again, it works like any other feature request. Like you can send that into our support desk. It'll go to our ideas board. It'll probably go like certainly something that would be as big a job as that would go on the feature upvote board, so we can judge like how popular it would be. And if it's popular enough, then like it's something we would consider. Anything like, especially when you've got a big request like that, it's worth like it makes a big difference to us if you can explain precisely what you're trying to do with it. So like what the differences are between our existing WordPress solution with the plugin and what you're imagining us having. That makes it a lot easier for us to decide if that kind of thing is viable, and a lot easier to describe on the upvote board, so people don't think they're voting for like things they're not. Paddy is asking, will there ever be an integration with Zapier? There will. That is another thing which is on the dev list and will be, again, I'm hoping released reasonably soon. As ever with this stuff, can't make guarantees on an actual release date, but it is under active development at the moment. And yeah, so it shouldn't be too long, I'm hoping, before that is in the app. SR is asking, how do we let Google know that we have a sitemap? So Convertri makes sitemaps automatically. You can see like this has hide in sitemap on there. So if you don't want a page on a sitemap, then you can click that. If you want to put it back again, you can put to visible in sitemap. I believe there is somewhere on Google where you can submit your site and it will specifically search for these things. I don't honestly know where that is, I'm sorry. Though I'm pretty certain Google will pick it up automatically like once it's scanned the page. Ian has a feature request of a search box within the media gallery. Yes, that's definitely a good idea. It would definitely make things an awful lot easier. So yes, consider that requested. Chandra is asking, does background work on mobile? With the caveat about the bug that's currently in there that I mentioned earlier, yes, that works fine. Walter's asking, where can you find the replay for today? We are. I am, as far as I can see, recording the call. Basically, there's a couple of little tech steps between like the recording actually happening and GoToWebinar spitting out an MP4 that people can watch. Normally they work fine. Occasionally they screw up. Assuming everything works fine, then this will be placed in the knowledge base. If we have, just load that up for you. You see, we're going to help.convertri.com, and you can see at the bottom here there is a section on Q&A webinars. And it's not just the Q&A ones; it's got every webinar we've got in here. Like we've got the bits of training that Martin did. There's the interview with Jim Rigney about how he does all his agency stuff. There's all the Q&A webinars as well. This one, this recording, will also go in this list, and it should be there. Probably end of Tuesday is the latest it's likely to be there. Peter King is asking, how do I get Convertri to host my video and use it to build a video page? So we have video hosting. If you are a pro or agency user, then there's some video hosting included. And you can access this if you go to campaigns. So we've got our funnels list here. On the left, there is a videos menu. See, I don't have any videos uploads on this account at the moment, but if you have a video to upload, You can click that, you can select your video file. That will put it onto Convertri's system. And once it's on there, if we go back to funnels, and just go back to that video opt-in page, so on video properties, now we've got the video element selected. If you click select your video, that will provide a list of all the videos that you've got on Convertri's hosting. So you can just click that, you can select your video, and that will put it into that video element. Frank is asking, can you reorder the items in the menu? Yes, I believe you can. Let's just go back to a page where it's got that on there. So you can see we have all our items in the list here, and they are up there. If you click like these little drag handles here, so we want services at the top, let's put that there. So we drag services to the top, and then that appears first. We want it somewhere different, we'll drag it down there, and now it's down at the end. Norman's asking, can you show where the replays of the training webinars are located? We just did that, but just in case you didn't see, I will show you again. So this is the Convertri knowledge base. No, it's not. I clicked the wrong thing because I'm an idiot. There we are. Help.convertri.com. This is the Convertri knowledge base. If you click on the Q&A webinars section down the bottom, or in fact, you can see it on the list here if you're anywhere else, then this is where all our replays are kept. They're just kept here, like they're just kept here forever. There's no deadline date when you've got to watch them by. And this webinar will go in the list along with the rest, probably by end of Tuesday. Martin is asking, can the video take up the entire page? In other words, can it be the page background? It can, or at least you can make the video very large. We don't have the facility for like 100% vertical height option, so like it won't like just scale depending on the size of the browser window, but you can make the video big and use it as a background video. That is what we're doing on this, like on this background video on, like this is actually our own website. So you can see this video playing in the background. That is just made with a background video element in Convertri. Agnes is asking, how can we create a blog with Convertri? Honest answer here is not very well. It's not something we're set up to do. It is something we recommend you use like a platform like WordPress for instead. The best you can manage with this kind of things, like you can make any individual article page in Convertri, because you can build pretty much anything as a Convertri page. And if you only want like a small blog which isn't being updated very much, like you want say 3 or 4 articles on a site just for like SEO purposes, then you can just build that in Convertri. Like you can build the template you want, you can add your article in, you can clone it. If your blog is going to be updated a lot, so you're going to have like new like related posts, if you're going to want to show like new posts on every page, Convertri isn't really very good for that because you have to update each page individually. And that, like if you've only got a few articles, that's okay. If you've got like 20 or 50 or something like that, then that gets old pretty fast. So if you're going to have a big blog, then WordPress is probably better for you. Martin Hanks asks, are you planning on adding PayPal integration? We are. Again, it's another thing that is on the list. PayPal has been on the list for a very, very long time. We are looking at doing a range of cart upgrades in the near future, so with any luck, it will be one of them. Johnny is asking, can I replace the Convertri cart with cart flows? To be honest, I thought cart flows was a WordPress only thing. But if it's not, if it just gives you an embed code you can put on a page, then there's no reason you can't take that embed code and put it on a Convertri page. A lot of our users do that with Thrivecart, with Samcart, with other platforms like that. So if Cartflows lets you do that, I see no reason why that wouldn't work. Ian's also asking, are we able to drag and drop reorder menu items? Yes, you absolutely can. I'll just show you that again. So we have our menu. In element properties, we go to menu items, and then you can see these drag handles next to each item that's on the menu. So you just pick one of them up and drop it where you want. And you can see here the items are rearranging. Norman is asking, what are the limits to video hosting on Convertri? The limits are 100 gigabytes of bandwidth every month. Doug's asking, is using Convertri hosted video the fast way to display them? Yes. Basically, we've designed, pretty much like everything else with Convertri, the video hosting is designed to be as fast as possible. It feels very braggy, but I do think it's a very, very clever system. Where basically we are using some of the fastest video CDNs that are out there at all, and it's being split up into individual sections, so the user doesn't have to download the entire video at once. It's just split up into small chunks, and it's designed to be fast enough so it's buffering like a couple of chunks down the line while the viewer is watching a single chunk. So the viewer gets a very, very fast experience. We've even had, when we were first testing this, we asked someone to test the video hosting, test the video that we'd put on our prototype video hosting system, and he was like, "No, I'm in the wilds of Malaysia at the moment. I'm stuck in a hotel. I've got basically no Wi-Fi. There's no way I'm a good test for you." Well, we'll try it anyway. And he tried it, and he just came back a few seconds later, going, "Holy crap, that played so fast!" Which was it was just a really cool moment. But that's it's definitely built for speed. I think it's pretty much the fastest out there. Dave is asking, do I have to upload all my videos again to Convertri to deal with a video stalling bug? You don't have to upload all of them, but unfortunately you do have to upload all the ones that were affected. This is something that we believe is fixed now. There shouldn't be any issues with future videos, but you will need to re-upload any videos which were affected by that bug to get them playing properly. John is asking, which of the webinars would be good for someone who is Convertri novice to learn an overview of what the beginner should know? Let's have a look. So I would probably go for number 5, which is actually the one I did last month. It's designed for people who are entirely new to the app, just how to get started very quickly. Something else you can have a look at is we have an onboarding course at convertricrashcourse.productdino.com, and this is a full walkthrough of how to use the app and basically how to think in a Convertri fashion. So how to use the templates, how to get the basics of the editor. And these have there's a range of videos with Beth doing a load of walkthroughs. There's some PDF downloads. There's some resources you can use so you can kind of work along with the examples. So that should help you out quite a lot as well. Brian is asking, what are the payment carts, PayPal integrations, or other payment integrations in Convertri? The only payment integration we have on the Convertri cart itself is Stripe, but as I said earlier, it's pretty trivial to embed any other cart into a Convertri page. So if you've got something like Thrivecart and you really want PayPal, then you can just embed a Thrivecart button into a Convertri page, and that will work fine. Martin is asking, please demonstrate uploading an existing site if possible. Let's see if we can do that. Does this account have importer access? Yep, looks like it does. So let's go with so we've got a website here, quite a big one. And basically this is the page of Thrive themes. They're a WordPress theme builder, and honestly they're actually really good. If I was using WordPress, I would probably use Thrive. I really like them. I'm mostly using them as a demo here, because if we're using something like this, it's just proof that I'm not just taking another Convertri page, I'm actually taking an external one. So let's stick that in there. Obviously I will delete this after it's done. And the importer is often very good. I'm not expecting this page to be perfect, because especially if there's animations and that kind of thing, the importer doesn't always render them very well. But it should be, in terms of transferring something from a WordPress site over to Convertri, then with any luck, this will give you an idea of what kind of starting point you can get with the importer, rather than have to build the entire thing from scratch. Obviously, this is quite a big page, and I'm also running a webinar at the same time, so this might take a little while. But we'll go through a couple of other questions while it's doing its thing. Johnny's saying, can I drop the crash course link in the chat? I definitely can. Mia. Okay, that has sent everyone a link to the Convertri crash course. Let's get back and let's have a look and see what the importer has done with this page. So yeah, I mean that's actually pretty good. Let's just have a look at the this. This is the original page, and this is the imported version. So yeah, actually there's not a huge amount you need to do to this one at all. It's not entirely the same. You can see there's a bit of overlap down here. But yeah, in general, that went pretty well. Brian is saying, am I familiar with Invisible PPC's recent launch of Dental Smart Pages? They offer their Smart Pages created as unbounced ClickFunnels and HTML5. Will these be downloadable file import into Convertri? That wasn't actually a launch I'd heard of. If that's a The files themselves, you probably won't be able to directly import into Convertri, but if you use the page importer like I've done here, like certainly the ClickFunnels version often import pretty well. Again, there'll normally be a bit of cleanup to do, but it won't be as much as like just building the page from scratch. Alternatively, like if you've got the HTML5, you could just publish that somewhere and then import that into Convertri. That's probably the easiest way of getting them in. Gary's asking, once you've imported a WordPress page, can you then edit every element and delete or add elements as you want? Yes, you can. This is just built as a Convertri page. Like if we switch on element outlines, you can see the containment the page importer does is a little bit weird. You'll probably need to, like that's probably where most of the work in making the page properly ready is going to be done. But yep, you can update that however you want. Like we want to move that around, I can go around there. I want to change the background on this thing. I want to make it blue. Maybe we think Jeff should be called Jeffrey rather than Jeff. So all that works just as it would as if you built it in Convertri. Okay, we have actually reached the end of the question list. Is there any other questions? Ronald's asking, are webinars transcribed for search by topic help, or where do we find help topics and videos? Most of the more recent webinars have, like, they don't have full transcription, but they have like a brief outline of what the webinar covers. So you can find them that way. If you go to help.convertri.com, so that's it. This is where like we keep all our articles and videos. You can see there's quite a lot of articles here. Like there's 61 about the editor. We've got 50 about forms and different services. We've got 19 like webinar replays in there at the moment. And some of these are just articles, but most of them also have a video to go with them. So you can find a lot of help there. Brian's asking, am I washing my hands often? I am. We are not playing with that. That's actually one of my mates. We're pretty certain he had the C19 a couple of weeks ago. Like you don't get tested unless you actually go to hospital with it, and he wasn't that bad. So we don't know if it was actually that or if it was like just a bad flu, but we think it probably was. Just because like where he's been recently. But yeah, he had a pretty rough week, but he's got over it now and he's fine. SR's asking, can you show us the video section of Convertri videos next time, please? Yeah, if people want a webinar about like using video in Convertri, then that's certainly something we can put together. I'll possibly try and run that another 2-3 weeks. Walter's asking, I have 5 pages so far. Do I publish each page separately and then link it together? That's probably, if you know what URLs you're going to publish the pages on, then I would probably just like add the links to the elements you're going to link them to beforehand and then publish them like after that. But I mean, you don't need to do it that way. If you want, you can just publish all your pages. You can take the URLs that you put them on and then like update after the fact. Then just republish your pages and like they'll be good to go. Doug says it's still the best software I've ever purchased as far as awesomeness and great support go. Thank you very much, Doug. We love you too. And I'm totally taking that quote and sticking it on the website, just so you know. Dale's asking, have a video with 3 choices button for routing on and off page could show. I'm sorry, I'm not really sure what you mean there. Could you clarify that, please? Jerry's asking, can you get to the crash course through the user portal? You can't at the moment. It is pretty high up the list to add because, like, honestly, it really should be there. Where it will be, if we just leave that, if you go to the account section, and then you'll see down here there is a section called resources, and at the moment there's a few little oh god, this is more than I've talked at once in a very long time. There's a few little guides there. It will be added in there once it's into the app, but the link is in the chat at the moment. You can get the link from there, or obviously, like, if you want, you can ask in the Facebook group, and that will like, someone will be able to provide you a link, or I will if I see it there first. Gary's put up another vote for video. I think Martin has as well. Okay, I think that is everything. So, okay. So thank you so much for coming out today, or possibly thank you so much for staying in today, because it's what we're all doing at the moment. Oh, hang on. Dale has like Interactor. We can't currently do video like Interactor. That's fairly like involved technology. But you can embed Interactor like on a Convertri page, like that works fine. I mean, that's actually what we did because we promoted Interactor like the most recent launch, and we put, like, as part of our review video, we did an interactive video for that, so they work absolutely fine on Convertri pages. Okay, so I think we are like actually at the end of the list now. Yeah, I don't think I've missed anything else. So yes, thank you very much for coming along. I hope it was useful to you. As long as the recording goes fine, let's say this will be in the it'll be in the knowledge base by probably the end of Tuesday, possibly a bit earlier. And yeah, thanks very much for coming. Stay safe out there. Wash your hands.